under this form of government, there is a director of every department, like recreation, like public works, like
All right, now
police.
the thing is, if you ended up getting one, I mean, because what the public says anyway, you gonna do nothing. You guys are gonna do what you want to do. If you hire somebody, to me, it just sounds like somebody's friend needs a job. Where's this money coming from to pay this guy?
Well,
Are we paying it?
Well, again, I think the mayor can speak to that better than I.
No, wait a minute, wait, ho. You come up with this position.
I didn't come up.
If you come up with this position, who's gonna pay for it?
So what I was trying to say is that every department head right now, and I believe another citizen raised this point at this meeting and prior meetings, every department head right now is a township employee and receives no additional compensation to serve as a department head.
Yeah, but my point is, what I'm getting to, if there is somebody here who's gonna pay for it, taxpayers, it's coming out of taxpayers' money?
Well, if a person is getting paid.
Yes or no? That's all
Well, every position here is paid out of taxpayer money.
Okay, so if you do this, it means our taxes go up again.
I would
Is that gonna
say,
be correct?
I would say that would be not necessarily a fair argument.
Well,
Because if you're paying if you're paying an employee X dollars to serve in a position.
To me, I went through this, like even in many other meetings, I always had complaints about speeders and stuff. I had a lot of complaints about the cops. To me, I have nothing against the chief of police, but it has to be organized. You gotta organize the work. You have 3 cop cars sitting in Acme parking lot and none over here.
Well, that's the salary that.
And the thing when I was complaining to the mayor says, I have no control over the police department. Is that true? Yes or no?
Day-to-day operation.
But the chief is actually supposed to be working under you. You're the mayor.
But sir, under the police, there's a statute. It's like the police chief's bill of rights in essence. And under that statute, the police chief, state law, the mayor can't tell the police chief if there's speeders on your street, go assign patrolman, detective orders to your street, set up a radar and stop the speeder. The mayor can't do that. There's an incident somewhere in town, the mayor can't tell the police, the chief, go send 4 patrolmen and 2 detectives. That's total police business.
But you're supposed to pass the information off to him. If it was or not, I have no idea.
No, but I'm just saying the difference, or what I'm trying to point out, is that those are the sorts of differences where the mayor has, what he has said in meetings is, when people complain that people are speeding on their street, he says, I'll pass that information on to the chief, but I can't direct an officer to go to the street and set up radar.
That way you can sit down and talk with the chief of police.
That's true, absolutely.
Am I correct?
And maybe that, and I'm not here every day, and I'm sure that happens.
Right. So, why, I don't understand about this other director. I mean, it should just be like the chief has problems, he's got to answer to the mayor. The mayor has a problem, you answer to the governor.
No, I answer to the residents.
The governor goes out there and says, okay, Pembroke Township's gonna have to do this. Who's he coming to? You, right? You go to a meeting with him, or he? Yeah, I never went to a meeting with the governor. Anybody in here went to a meeting with the governor?
I do not answer to the
I have. I work under the governor. So, the governor says something to our big wheels, we gotta do it too, so. But, another thing, it's like the time the one meeting you turned around, it was like a joke, and I kinda took it serious. I didn't really appreciate it that much when you turned around and said, everybody thinks I'm in charge of the township. To me, the mayor, that's your job. That's what we got you in there. I mean, if you can't, the mayor can't, it's not your job. Maybe you just do what the mayor's job. So I'm the director. Am I correct? Okay, let me ask you. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.
You're not going to.
You're fired. You get 5 minutes late.
John Schultz. Everything at Brownsville. Before this council fully came in, I mentioned about
getting pump, pump stops, car bumps in the roadway on Bear Avenue. I'd like to know if anything probably has been discussed about that. I know the engineer was about a year ago. Speeders, I mean, the cops can.
Dave said he can answer that question.
Yeah, John, I know you may have forgot, but we discussed that, and I believe your intersection is a county road, and that's why we're not allowed to put speed humps on your road. Although there are some new legislation I saw Bill, I don't know if it passed yet, that is addressing something on that line, and we'll look into that. The law, that's another argument at the State House, it's the law.
You're right, I forgot about that. I do apologize, but if something can be done to, yeah, I know. But if something can be done to help the police department, you know, they're using it as a drag strip, even with the weather we're having. I mean, I stop them all the time. I stand right in front of you. I don't care. I make them stop. I know. I make their license plate. Hey, I'm a big boy. I'd stop speeding vehicles. Trust me. If not, I've got something for them. The other thing is, police department, they've had their locker rooms taken away from them. Give it back to them. Stop wasting money. There's enough taxpayers' money being wasted without additional spending being done. You know, the police department is the number one priority. They're down in their recruitment. I mean, we're down, what, 7 officers? The officer that was just up there? That's a good way to. I was, you know, in law enforcement for 25 years. Not police work on the streets, but behind the walls. I kept the inmates in after the locals locked them up. I know what it's like. You know, help the cops out. They're doing their best. Every time I walk up upon a cop, they're as professional as can be. Whether I know them or not, they are still professional. And I've never had a problem with them. The chief of police, if you're all smart, and I know you are, make him the director. He can do the job, he knows what he's doing. I've known him for quite a few years, 25 or better. And he does know what he's doing. He can do the job. And he's very good at his job.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Sorry.
Harvey Crawford, Ridge Road, Browns Mills, taxpayer. I have 4 short issues I'd like to approach with the council. First one, I'd like to clear up a myth. When the outgoing fire director left, he left a list of 3 names that he thought should or could be the next fire director in his township. 2 out of 3 of them I know for a fact would not take the job because of the ongoing and never-ending lawsuits and did not want to be involved in them. Can't speak for the 3rd person. So it is correct that the position fell by default to the business administrator. 2, I've heard it brought up twice here tonight about the conditions of speeders, drunk drivers, whatever, on various township roads. I bring up Ridge Road again. I heard an interesting suggestion tonight. approached the state police. They used to have something called a flying squad. Bring them in and augment township police force. Get these drunk drivers, marijuana smokers, trash throwers, speeders off the road. You could do Magnolia Road one day, Ridge Road the next, North Lakeshore Drive. I'll give you an example. Ridge Road is a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit with a double yellow line. Doing the speed limit today, I had an idiot with a blue light on pass me on Ridge Road at an excessive amount of speed. Anybody wants it, I got the description of his car and his license number. I'm a 32 or 33-year life member of Browns Mills Fire Department. I resent the condition that the individual passed me doing today. Next thing, I want to speak to this business of a director for the police department. I'm not totally opposed to the position. As a taxpayer, what I'm opposed to, where's the money coming from? What is the position going to cost us? I understand what I've heard about the Faulkner Act tonight. I don't think it should be up to the council. I don't think it should be up to the mayor. If you're going to spend whatever it is on another director, I think it should be on a referendum and up to the voters whether they even want this position. Oh, the Faulkner Act and the law. I don't think anything supersedes the Constitution of the United States where it says we have the right to vote on something. Those are the 4 points that I have to make. Thank you for your time and your attention.
I'm sorry, I wasn't getting it.
Name is Colleen Kearney, Presidential Lake. I just have a quick question regarding this whole police director or public safety director. Is that public safety director part of the quotient or the number of positions that are allowed for police? For example, how many people are responsible? 15, 17? So that's
It's not, well, it's not a public safety director, but one, but two, that position doesn't go to the number of police officers
Okay,
that
so-
are authorized by the ordinance.
Okay, so in other words, we're not taking a badge off
No.
the street? That's my question, thank you.
Purple shirt. Yeah, there was two. I didn't even see your hand up. Sorry.
Actually, I have two questions. Terry Maldonado, Cumberland Township, Browns Mills. Mr. Council President, can you please explain to me what is the proper procedure of introducing a township ordinance under town law?
By law, there would have to be 2 votes that would introduce it, 2 council member votes, and then a motion, and then it would go through and then call the council.
How would the motion go? Let's say ordinance such and such.
Motion to approve.
That's all you say is a motion to approve? You don't have to give the ordinance information?
Motion to introduce. Well, I was reading the title, but I'm not even sure that I have to read the title.
Well, you have to introduce an ordinance by title. You can introduce an ordinance by title. The council president read the title of the ordinance, and the ordinance doesn't even need to be written to be introduced. That's not the practice here. It's always written and council sees drafts before it's introduced, except in very rare circumstances. But that's all that's required under law, and it's advertised. You can come to the clerk's office, we post the ordinances online before the public hearing, and then there's another meeting where there's a public hearing on the ordinance. And then the council votes on it. If it's approved, it goes to the mayor. The mayor can sign it, the mayor can veto it. If the mayor signs it, then gets published again in a newspaper, and then after 20 days from that, it becomes effective under law.
Okay, so
That's the entire process.
you went a little too far.
Okay.
The question is,
Yep.
if, let's say Ms. Stoll says, I want to bring ordinance such and such to the table, is the ordinance number, that's the proper procedure.
Yeah,
So what happens if a council member just says, I motion? Is that a proper procedure?
it's a hypothetical, I'm not sure what you're saying. The answer is, typically, there was on the agenda tonight, I can answer specifically, on the agenda tonight was the ordinance, the police ordinance by title, and there was a motion made to introduce that specifically. So, I'm not sure what else you're asking.
Okay. My question is, Mrs. Jackson, when she said, I make a motion, Mrs. Trueblood went into giving the title of the motion along with the ordinance number. So you're telling me the way she handled this is proper procedure?
I'm saying as long as the public's aware of what is being introduced.
Well, maybe we weren't because it was first.
Well, okay, so if you're making a legal argument, and if you want to challenge it in court because you don't like the way it was introduced, then you can do it. I'm not really sure what
No,
you
I'm
want
just
to
asking
say.
under the sunshine law.
Well, no,
Proper
you're
procedure.
cross-examining me about it, really.
That's
So,
your question, then.
I understand that, but since this falls within my purview of how you asked how an ordinance is introduced, it's a very specific procedure under state laws. That is part of my job as a municipal solicitor.
Okay, well, how about you listen to your recording and you tell me whether you're in violation of the sunshine law or not? Okay, my second question is to Terry Maldonado, Board Liaison for Pemberton Township Schools. My question is, are we going to give proper crossing gear for the crossing guards? As something as in, for the days that it is foggy, you cannot see these crossing guards with the little strips they have on their vest. In other words, we need something to stand them out.
We have crossing guards now?
Oh, there's one on Trenton Road. But I will say she almost got hit last week when it was foggy out because she was not seen.
So what exactly are you asking?
Something like a fluorescent color, something bright to bring them out. If we can't keep our crossing guards safe, we're definitely not gonna keep our kids safe.
Administration, are you making note of this?
We will inform the chief.
All right, thank you.
First or for sure?
Yeah, actually, it's my husband.
Oh, Bill Hurdy, Browns Mills. It's actually been a while since I've been down. It's busy. Came down tonight, and I'd actually like to congratulate council tonight on perfecting the double talk and the quality of just throw mud in the waters. Because half the things that the people said, I don't think anybody understood. I'm sure it didn't take, I don't know why it took 10 minutes to decide on what time you were going to have it. That's something that really does not have to be brought up here. That's something that has to do with council.
Amy would like to answer that.
Mr. Harmon actually has a question brought up at the meeting. Council cannot legally discuss anything as a group.
You're fine.
Without it being at council.
Well, they can decide what time we're going to have it in closed session.
No,
They
it
don't
is
have
not.
to-
It is not a closed session matter.
Well, it's not something that they need to waste everybody's time for 10 minutes arguing, get your agendas together before you walk in.
Mr. Harmon,
But
did
you're
you
good.
suggest they decide when to have a meeting? It has to be discussed in public.
You know, I mean, you've really perfected muddying the waters on everything I've talked about tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Aaron.
And
Thank you. She goes to the wife.
Veronica Henry, Reynolds Mills resident. I just want to say that, to be honest, with the whole situation with the police department, in my opinion, it's gone way out of hand. I have a high respect for our police department. I had an incident one Halloween night where they had to come over to my place. And the officers were very, very nice. I have a high respect for Chief Jandis because I believe the police department really works their tail end off. I know people have positive experiences and negative experiences, but all in my own personal opinion, when it comes down to this public safety director, that, it's going to, whatever you guys are going to plan. I honestly think it's more of, besides a administrative issue, it's also, in my opinion, a personal issue. Because I've been hearing stories left and right about what's been going on. And I'm like, I think it's more beyond the administration's concerns and opinions. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
I'm Keith Bradley from Presidential. I shouldn't have waited so long because I kept writing on the list. It's been a while since I've been in a meeting. It was a couple meetings ago, you talked about paving going on over on Split Rock. You were approving the money to grade it or something, and then you were gonna pave it in-house. Anybody gone by there lately? After it was paved? Over there, where the speed bumps are, it's a mess. I got a question. Before you were talking, somebody was saying that there's an ordinance that requires new hires and employees of the township to be residents of the township. Is there a possibility of waiver on that? So that's probably how the business administrator got his job then, on a waiver.
Well, there's a waiver provision for if you can't find a candidate who is, and then you go to the county, then you go outside. There's a process, and that's been
You can more or less go out and get the person you want.
Well,
anyhow, my last meeting also, the council was saying that they were going to try to talk with the administration and the police department to try to get a handle on this, for lack of a better word, war that's going on. I was just wondering how that was going, how that, we're making any progress on that?
Technically, council shouldn't have any interaction with township employees. I have asked Mayor before if he has been in touch with the police chief, and vice versa. As of right now, I'm not sure where that's at.
Well, if y'all, the council, expect to get the right information and the information you need to talk to other than the mayor, right? Because the mayor is one of the parties in this war that's going on.
well, the council can request information from any department, including the police department, and what was decided was that council was going to make an information request of the police chief for certain information related to the ongoing areas of dispute between the township and the police. And that's where it was left.
Okay, so it hasn't gone any further than that.
Well,
If you really want to know what's going on, folks, go down, go out and talk, find some way to go talk to the rank and file.
We're not allowed.
They'll let you know.
And
I figured that.
Just realized what you're referring to. You're referring to the committee that was supposed to be formed, or that was formed, to provide the questions to administration. And I'm not sure where those questions are currently at.
Oh, Council President, can I just answer this for a second here? I believe, and Andy, help me out, because I don't want to break any laws. I want to make sure
I'm
that,
gonna keep you out of trouble.
keep me out of trouble, honey. Okay, I believe we spoke in the, we talked about the investigatory committee and of the whole council, sir. And then they broke it down and said they only wanted 2 people. And Councilwoman Sherry Skull and Councilman Allen would be the one to propose these 3 questions that we kind of like decided on. And actually that was going to be my question tonight, because we had decided that we were going to ask if the 2 council people would get information on grievances. Second was going to be on the locker rooms. And third was going to be on the 8-hour shifts. And I just had something that I had wanted to include tonight. overtime since they went on the 8-hour shifts, but that was just something that I just kind of threw in there a little bit. Yeah, oh, you were going, sorry. Okay, so that was set up.
It's really gone nowhere so far.
I was going to ask.
Thank you.
Well, if I can answer that question, I think I said earlier that I brought the list of questions with me that will be given to both the police chief and administration, and we want separate answers from both.
So it really
parties.
took a month and a half for the council
Well,
to
yeah,
get moving on it.
kinda. And
Okay,
part of
that
that's
answered my
my
question.
fault, but we have them here tonight, and hopefully we'll get it to Amy. And
My next question, I'd like, if you would allow me, Mr. Mayor, I would like to ask you a direct question.
Please direct it through council and then.
At that same meeting I'm referencing with this other stuff, Mrs. Phillips was quite upset about the locker room and was talking directly to the mayor. And the mayor said they have their locker rooms. She said, they have use of the locker room? He said, yes. I'd like to clarify that. Do they or do they not, the rank and file police, have a locker room that they can go in, change into their uniform, go to work, come off of work, go in and change into their clothes where they can go home again so they ain't carrying all that crap that they run into on an 8-hour shift or a 12-hour shift back then into their house? Do they or do they not have use of it, have a locker room that's used?
Dave, would you like to address this?
They do have a locker room to go change if, in fact, they do encounter all that, as you referred to, crap that they would run into, so they don't have to take that home. But that is on those type of incidences only.
But they still have to change at home where uniform to work. Nothing's changed. Okay, thank you on that. You talked about it, there was talk about a chaplain. Your police force, or our police force is what, about 60 people? Okay. Is the chaplain a paid position? Not at all. So assigning 1 to 10 chaplains is not gonna,
No budgetary.
okay, no budget at all. They seem to be quite happy with the chaplain they have. I spent time in Vietnam. I'm no newbie to this crap. If we had 1 chaplain per 60 people, we'd have been fat, dumb, and happy. Okay. If you really need more chaplains, if there is a half a 9/11 here in Pemberton Township that all these guys go through, they're gonna need some help. But how many churches around here? And those guys would be more than happy to come out and help. So this bickering on a chaplain is kind of redundant. 8-hour shifts. How much money are we saving by having the guys on 8-hour shifts? Is our taxes gonna go down now?
That's one of our questions, Keith, we're asking.
I don't think our taxes are going down. What I'm understanding is, are they up in overtime? The council don't know what the overtime is?
We're not allowed to know everyday operations stuff.
Oh, but, well, that's sort of a, how you doing with the budget type thing.
Right. Well, we'll find out at budget time when we sit
Okay.
down and discuss the budget.
All right, from what I understand, it's gone absolutely crazy. And closing down these first aid squads in the fire departments, like after Presidential Lakes, like I don't have a fire department. Did that save the township money? It's a yes or no answer. I mean,
Well, I think I would at least want to say, I think as was said earlier, I think the underlying premise in your question is a little flawed. Wasn't fire department really wasn't closed in Presidential Lakes. Presidential Lakes chose not to join Pemberton
okay,
Township Fire.
without us having the fire department in there,
Right.
did it save the township any money? Any taxpayers' money?
That's the chief financial officer.
Andy, I'm sorry, so we can be just respectful here. Sir, thank you for your service, Vietnam.
Thank you.
Can we just allow, when I served on the Board of Education, we didn't go back and forth and back and forth. What we did is we said to our superintendent, not you, sir. And we asked the superintendent if it was any way possible that they could get back to the resident or the parent within a couple weeks with the answers that they were asking. If we did not know the answer that's sitting up here now.
If you don't know, just tell me you don't know. I can understand that, but.
And what I'm saying to you, Andy, and Council President, could we possibly get back in a couple weeks? Because that was one of the things that's on the list, you know. Could we do that, please, sir, Council President? Thank you so much.
And one more thing, I gotta hit on this, department head for the police department. Who is actually doing the physical work or the mental work that person would do if a person was put in the position? Who's doing that work now?
Posting people there. The mayor and the administrator.
So we don't have to pay them any more than do for them to continue to do. So then why would we put somebody else in if we're gonna have to pay more and not our taxes? Thank you. Y'all have a good day.
I have a couple additional questions, if you don't mind. First of all, number one, at the last council meeting, Council President, I asked for specific information with respect to purchase of 2 new police cars. And I'd like to know the status of that.
Through the township clerk, I requested that information from Chief Jantis. I do have that information with me. If I could provide it to you after the meeting,
That's
would you
fine.
like me to read it now?
No, it's fine. Second comment or question that I have for the council. Explain to me with regard to the female officer who came up here earlier, why is it just because she's a party in a lawsuit, what gives the business administrator the authority to override the chief when he's got work for her to do? Explain that to me. Because here's my going with this. If she wasn't pregnant, she'd still be on the street and still be a party to the lawsuit. So she's still doing her job, it's just going to be behind the desk until she has her child. There's no difference there. So again, how does the business administrator have the authority to override the police chief when that is direct police work?
When after public comment period, we are going back, council will be going back to discuss the issue in closed session.
That don't answer your question,
You guys need to think long and hard about that. There are many female police officers who bear children during the time that they are public servants. And do not forget that. They are public servants. She goes out that door after she has her child and I know this. Watching my father go out that door and wondering if he was going to come back through that door when his shift was done. Just because she's a party to the lawsuit that needs to be resolved doesn't mean she can't work. She's behind the desk or in the police station. There is no difference. And I resent the fact that the township business administrator and anybody else from the administration can decide to make that decision.